Many people think self-inquiry and presence are the same thing. They're not. And mixing them up is one of the main reasons self-inquiry often doesn't work. If you've ever tried asking, "Who am I?" and felt like you were going in circles, this confusion might be why. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how these two practices differ, where they overlap, and when to use each one. Let's bring some clarity to this. First, let's talk about what most people mean when they say presence. In modern spirituality, presence usually refers to being fully aware of the present moment. Eckhart Tolle's teachings have made this approach widely known. The power of now brought presence into mainstream consciousness. Presence in this sense means noticing what's happening right now, the sounds around you, the sensations in your body, the thoughts passing through your mind. It's a kind of open, receptive awareness. You're here, you're awake, you're not lost in past regrets or future worries. The practice often involves watching your thoughts without getting caught up in them. You become the observer. Thoughts come and go, and you simply notice them. This is valuable. It brings peace. It reduces anxiety and creates space from mental noise. Many people experience profound relief through this practice. The constant mental chatter quiets down. There's space, there's stillness, and this is exactly where the confusion begins. Because self-inquiry can look similar on the surface. Both involve awareness, both can quiet the mind, both seem to create distance from thoughts, but the direction is completely different. This is where many sincere practitioners get confused, so let's slow this down. Self-inquiry is not observing thoughts. It's not watching the mind. It's not even about being present to your experience. Ramana was clear about this. He said, "Self-inquiry is the one infallible means, the only direct one, to realize the unconditioned, absolute being that you really are." The key word is being, not experience, not the content of awareness. Being itself. Here's what self-inquiry actually involves. When a thought arises, you don't just notice it. You ask, to whom does this thought come? The answer is always, to me. Then comes the crucial step. You turn your attention toward that sense of I, not toward the thought, not toward the experience, toward the one who is aware. Ramana put it this way: the thought, "Who am I?" will destroy all other thoughts, and like the stick used for stirring the funeral pyre, it will itself be destroyed. The question isn't meant to be answered by the mind. It's meant to redirect attention from the content of experience to the experiencer itself. This is a completely different movement than presence. In presence, you're aware of experience. You notice thoughts, sensations, sounds, the world around you. In self-inquiry, you're investigating awareness itself. You're looking at the I that is aware. Think of it this way. Presence says, be aware of what's appearing. Self-inquiry says, find out who is aware. One looks at what is known. The other looks at the knower. David Godman, who spent years with Ramana's direct disciples, explained it clearly. He wrote that self-inquiry means to focus attention on the inner feeling of I, and to hold that feeling as long as possible, not focusing on thoughts, not focusing on sensations, not focusing on the present moment as it unfolds, focusing on the feeling of I itself, the bare sense of being, the one who knows. Now, let's be fair. There's real overlap between these practices. Both involve awareness. Both create some distance from the grip of thinking. Both can quiet the mind and reduce suffering. Someone practicing presence might naturally stumble into self-inquiry. And someone doing self-inquiry will certainly experience presence along the way. These aren't opposing practices, they're not in conflict, but they're not the same either. Understanding the difference matters because it affects what you're actually doing when you practice. If you think self-inquiry is just being present to thoughts, you'll watch the mind forever without ever turning toward the watcher. If you think presence is self-inquiry, you might stay at the level of experience without investigating who is experiencing. Both are valid practices, but they lead to different depths. Here's the crucial difference, spelled out as clearly as I can. Presence is awareness of experience. Self-inquiry is investigation of the experiencer. Presence asks, what is appearing right now? Self-inquiry asks, to whom does it appear? Presence looks at the content of the movie. Self-inquiry looks at the screen on which the movie plays. One refines your relationship with experience. The other questions who is having the experience in the first place. Ramana gave a beautiful analogy. He compared thoughts to a rope mistaken for a snake in dim light. Presence might help you observe the snake more calmly. Self-inquiry shines a light directly on the rope and reveals that there never was a snake. The snake is the sense of being a separate self, a limited I, who is the experiencer of life. Self-inquiry investigates that I directly and discovers what it actually is. This is why Ramana called self-inquiry the direct path. It doesn't work around the edges, it goes straight to the root. When you ask, to whom does this thought come? And then investigate that I, you're not improving your experience. You're questioning the one who seems to be having the experience. And when that investigation deepens, something remarkable happens. The sense of being a separate experiencer dissolves. What remains is awareness itself, without a secondary I who is aware. When you search for the one who is searching, no separate entity is found, only the self, which was never absent. This is what Ramana pointed to, not a better state, not a calmer mind, not even a deeper experience. The recognition of what you already are before the thought I even arises. The self is ever present. It isn't attained through practice, it is simply recognized when the false I is seen through. So when should you use each practice? Presence is perfect for daily life. When you're stressed, anxious, or lost in mental noise, coming back to the present moment is powerful. Notice your breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Hear the sounds around you. This grounds you. It creates space. It interrupts the momentum of compulsive thinking. Presence is also easier to access. It doesn't require subtle investigation. You simply notice what's here. Use presence when you need relief, when the mind is racing, when you're caught in emotional reactivity, when you've lost touch with the simple fact of being alive right now. For Ramana, however, practices like mindfulness are preparatory. They calm the mind and create the conditions for inquiry. But self-inquiry itself is the direct means, the main path, not one option among many. Self-inquiry goes deeper. Use it when you want to investigate the nature of the one who is aware, when you're ready to question the sense of being a separate self, when you want to trace the I thought back to its source. Self-inquiry is more subtle. It requires a certain inner stillness to begin with. That's why presence can be a beautiful preparation for self-inquiry. First, settle. Come into the present. Let the mental noise quiet down. Then, from that place of relative stillness, turn attention toward the sense of I. Ask, who is aware of this stillness? Who is present? And rest there. not looking for an answer, not expecting an experience, just resting in the looking itself. Here's the common mistake to avoid. Don't mix them mechanically. Don't alternate randomly between watching thoughts and asking, "Who am I?" without understanding why. Each practice has its own integrity. Presence is complete in itself. Self-inquiry is complete in itself. You don't need to add self-inquiry to presence to make it more spiritual, and you don't need presence to validate self-inquiry. Understand each one. Practice each one with clarity, and let them serve their purpose. Presence keeps you grounded, awake, connected to life as it is. Self-inquiry reveals who you are beneath all experience. Both are valuable, both have their place. This distinction is subtle, but it changes the practice completely. When you understand the difference, self-inquiry stops being confusing. It becomes clear, direct, and purposeful. And presence stops being a goal to achieve. It becomes the natural background of life, the space in which everything appears. If this distinction clicked for you, explore the self-inquiry playlist on the channel. And if you want to go deeper into the practice itself, watch my video, Self-Inquiry Practice, Ramana Maharshi's Real Method Explained. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. dailyselfwisdom.com